really something.
Hey, aloha, and welcome. Notpods.com coming soon, and my YouTube channel at Notpods. This is Uncle Richie. I am live. This is high noon Hawaiian time in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Not going to give out our exact location. If you know, you know. And welcome. This is one of my original shows, Talk Story with Uncle Richie. I'm here with my good friend, Uncle Raz, Brother
Aloha.
Rick. Good seeing you, people. We're going to talk a little bit of sports, talk a little bit of life. This guy's got stories for days. So, original legend moved here, what, 1979?
6.
76
Yeah.
from San Diego.
San Diego.
One of the best surfers ever moved over here.
Yep. I teamed up with the Smith family on the west side. My brother was their high school teacher at Waimea High when I was a senior. And we used to communicate regularly as just fellow surfers. Me from San Diego, them being the top leader boys here on the west side. And anyway, I moved over at that time to be with my brother and became friends with the Smith boys, and the rest is history. 44 years of history and stories and episodes of life that I think are remarkable, and I think I'd love to share them with people at one point or another during our sports talk.
Yes. Some amazing stories. I've heard most of them. I'm sure more are going to come out. Uh, and it was, I got here 95 and it was kill howley. They call white people. You were just what? You were barely brown enough. And like some of the
No,
local guys weren't quite sure what to think.
I was more than brown enough. Back in those days, I was super fit, and I was 3 times shades darker than I am now, and my hair was long and sun bleached. So I was an obvious surfer look, but they didn't know where I was from. All they knew was that wherever I was from had good waves because of my style, the way I surfed. They used to say this guy came from somewhere where the waves were good, and that was a compliment because a lot of the waves on Kauai, you got to be everything's thick and crunchy and powerful and short, and sometimes you don't get a chance to draw long lines. Whereas the place I came from was smooth, glassy, long lines, and you were able to surf more often in a lined way. Where the chance that I ever got to get those kind of waves here, then that style would come out. Um, it's a very subtle thing, but people that surf at a certain level know exactly what I'm talking about. Kauai is very well, not Kauai, the Hawaiian Islands in general. Very, very deep water, very heavy waves that aren't always smooth and glassy. So you got to be well rounded and be able to handle all kinds of adverse conditions. This is what made the boys that surf the North Shores so much better than any other surfers in the world almost because their waves were super heavy all the time. And growing up as little kids, for instance, the Irons brothers, my God, their backyard was some of the heaviest reefs in the world, and they developed a talent that was almost unmatched just based on where they grew up. So I take a lot of pride in knowing that my younger years were spent here in the islands and was able to get to a certain level at a certain time. I no longer could, and that was quite some time ago now. I'm in my mid 60s, and I stopped surfing hard in my mid to late 30s. Just kind of like almost all athletes at their peak.
Let's go into that story. At the clamshell when the kids
Mm.
were on the beach.
Yeah,
Is that pretty much?
there was a point in my life where I was a single father. My kids were about 6 and 8 years old, and this was at the end of my surfing career. But I still, in my mind, thought I could do what I did before. I ended up paddling out into a day that was the eddy was going on Oahu, and on our island It was equally as big, just not, being recorded or watched by thousands of people. There was a dozen of us out at a reef we all call the clamshell, which is about 300 yards offshore, corner of the island. When the sets come in, you can see them way out to sea, just giant stacks. And I got a couple of waves that were a little too small and just started paddling back out when the horizon went out of whack. I couldn't even see the skyline. They were so big. Just one, two, three giant stacks. I would call them 20 to 30 feet Hawaiian, which that's what was happening at Waimea on the same day. Um, I went over this just massive wave where I was watching the guys in front of me just barely get over the top. I just barely got over the top, and the next one was no way I'm going to make it. No way I'm going to get over it. It was sucking out over the shallow part of the reef to my right, which is called the clamshell, the shallow U-shaped reef that made for crazy peaks and takeoffs. But it sucked up all that water, and I tried to figure out, should I have it break in front of me and deal with the massive whitewater, or is there a chance I can get over this? I stopped paddling and wanted it to break. It just kept doubling up and getting bigger and bigger. Finally, it broke only maybe 10 yards in front of me, and I went under, but there was very little water to deal with, maybe 10 feet, and you're touching the bottom. And the explosion was so hard and big, it twisted and contorted me in so many different ways that I thought my spine was broken. When I came to the surface, my board was gone and I was completely out of air. And I turned and looked, and there was another one, equally as big, but with chocolate milk all over it because of the white water from the previous wave. And at that point, my heart started beating so hard, I asked God, please save my life right now. If you just do this for me, I'll stop. I'll never make this mistake again. But I can't make it without you.
The kids were on the beach.
Yeah, and I actually turned and looked on the shore, and I could see my kids playing with a ball and a dog, like far away, having no idea what Daddy was going through. I saw all that in a matter of seconds and was able to talk to God for just seconds before the next one came down with equal ferocity. And at that point, I was completely out of air, rolling, tumbling. Finally got up, and this is not unlike many surfers go through this every day. My story's not special, it's not unusual, it's just a level of surfing that very few people know unless they ride big waves. At that time, I had no business being out there. He saved my life and gave me enough strength to wash up on the shore. I remember I could barely stand up, and that was it. I said, you know what? I've been surfing since I was 10. Um, I surfed more days as a kid from 10 to 20 years old. I'll put it on the line with anybody. I've surfed 3 times a day for 8 to 10 years through my childhood. Even got the opportunity to go to night school in high school. My San Diego was too overcrowded at one of the high schools I went to, and they offered night school. My parents let me go, which allowed me to surf every single day when everybody else was in school. So this was part of the opportunity to just develop my passion and skill for surfing, to never be a competitor in a contest. I did that a few times, but that wasn't my goal. I was a free surfer. To this day, my idol is Bruce Irons. He's known to be the best free surfer in the world, and the times I've seen him do what he does, it's exactly what I wish I could have achieved, but never got to that level. As far as having my life saved, I felt like I had to adhere to that, and I don't think God said, "Hey, you can never surf again," but it took the passion out of me. It really did. I don't know if like pro athletes in other sports, football players, tennis players, whatever, all know what that feeling is. But when you can't do something at the level that you did all the years you had a passion for it, you almost don't want to do it at all. And that's what happened to me. And a lot of people frown on me for that. They want to see me out in 2 to 4 foot waves, just keeping fit and enjoying what surfing is. At that point, being a father took over, and that was my passion. I raised 2 daughters to the best of my ability, and a lot of that meant that just couldn't go surfing anymore, and that was okay. And that's kind of carried on to my older life, which isn't a good thing. If I had kept surfing just a little bit, I wouldn't have the heart complications that I have. I wouldn't be overweight. I encourage anybody that can keep surfing, by all means, do it. I can't explain the situation that happened to me that took my passion, but it did. And again, I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. I love what I do, and I love who I love, and I love my sports, and I love just taking care of my loved ones. And surfing is more of a memory now.
Me too. And I never got near that level, but I was way into it. I had my life and death moments, and sometimes I just don't have that passion.
Yeah,
Golf kind of took over for me.
I think golf's a good avenue for men that go through a change. And you see that a lot with athletes like pro football players, baseball players, whatever. You see them go into golf afterwards and have that be one of their new passions because there's a lot of similarities. Golf, to me, you see the true nature of a man through his golf game. If somebody has really good ethics and honesty and cordialness with other people and knows how to be honest to themselves, that's what you got to be in a golf game. You'll see guys that like kick the ball out of the rough or give you the wrong score
Go in with
purposely.
the orange one and come out with a white one. Found
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And
Tee it up in the sand trap.
we all turn our
Oh,
back and
man.
go, "Oh, that's just him." But it's really you're serving nobody any good when you do that in golf.
Yeah.
That's why I don't like mulligans. What's a mulligan? You don't get a mulligan. You don't get a mulligan really in anything. Truly, I mean, you can get it, but does that make you better? No, you got to move on to the next moment and put that bass moment behind you. That's the true nature of almost everything. And I played with a handful of guys that oh, Mully just hit another one, and they would still record a 5 when it was really at least a 7.
Yeah. You're your own referee. It's the only sport.
Yeah,
There's no referee.
no referee, just being honest.
Yeah.
I was telling Richie here about a friend of mine that we were in a heavy skins game. I drove the cart up to a trap. He didn't know I was there, and his ball was in the middle of the trap. And I watched him put a tee under the ball, teed it up, and hit a fairway wood out of the trap and won the skin. And I kept it to myself. And this is kind of a popular guy with a big name that nobody
Big
would,
golf name.
yeah,
His dad.
nobody would think somebody like that would do that.
Uh,
And it kind of made me see, well, that's, what else does this person do?
yeah, for sure. So San Diego. So a huge Charger fan, huge Padre fan.
Yes, I'm very proud of my upbringing. The area that I was raised in, for some reason, produced a lot of star athletes. I mean, major stars came from my immediate inter school area. Uh, I can name off names like Marcus Allen, Bill Walton, Brian Sipe actually went to my high school. Um, who's the Marshall Falk? Um, Gosh, it just there's even more. It goes on and on. San Diego is a hotbed for for athletics and sports. So as a kid, I was super into baseball. I was a baseball player. That was my best sport, and I was well on my way to being like the high school shortstop as a freshman. I was recruited as such, but that's at the time that surfing took over my life in a complete and total way. My dad never forgave me.
Plus,
Um,
depending on your teammates, didn't you have that moment where
yeah,
you said,
that was a huge thing. I was so competitive of a person, so competitive. I love to win all the time. I could put up with losing a good game, but when you watch when you're winning and losing is in the hands of six, seven, or eight other people, that started to really bother me. I felt like I was very little a part of the losing, and I had to lose because of other people so much. It just started to really wear on me. And finally, one day, after I realized how much I love surfing, is because it's your own. It's you and the ocean. The ocean is your opponent. And it's whew, you don't have to. You can't rely on anybody else. So that really appealed to
can't
me.
just call timeout, man. It's
Yeah.
not like other sports.
Yeah, you can't take a break when something's about to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Tell me the Bill Walton story.
I
This is
was
classic.
maybe 6 or 7 years old, just young.
Uh,
My brother was 10 years older than me, so he would take me to sporting events all the time. Well, this was just his high school CIF San Diego City Championship. So he was in his 15, 16 years old, so I was 5, 6, 7, right around there. Anyway, it was at Grossmont High School, and it was Helix High School versus Grossmont, which featured Ralph Drollinger, who was a 6'11" senior at Grossmont, against Bill Walton, who was 7 foot phenom. Just when I saw him, I was marveled. I couldn't believe how tall he was. I mean, I thought high school players were like, pros back then when you're young. Anyway, they're doing their pregame layups, and I walked behind the basket going towards the seats. I was holding a bag of M and M's, and I dropped the bag of M and M's, and they went spew all into the court while they were running up layups. And it just so happened Bill Walton was running up a layup, and he stepped on the M and M's. His legs did like a spread eagle, and he slammed onto the floor really hard on his knee, and was laying there for like 2 minutes, not able to get up. And everybody was in awe because he was the state, San Diego City champ, everything else. He was, oh, anyway, he got up and his knee was okay. And they got through the game and whatnot. But throughout that poor man's career, he suffered numerous knee setbacks, I believe, because of me starting it.
I
And
mean, I don't mean to
I've
laugh.
always wanted to
He
introduce
brought my
myself.
Blazers my only championship. I love him forever.
I've
You gotta
wanted
have the
to.
heart of a champion.
I've wanted to tell Bill this story, and I've never got the opportunity.
We're gonna make that happen.
I met his brother. Gosh, I'm going to say his first name. He was more of a football star at dinner at Kyoki's at one of our restaurants nearby when I was a waiter in there. And just by the way he was who he was, I knew he was somebody. So I asked him if he was a pro athlete or who he was, and he said he was. Oh God, I can't think of the first name. Walton. I said, not Bill Walton's brother. He goes, yes, I'm from La Mesa. I said, so am I. And we shook. Anyway, I told him the story, and he remembered because he had went to that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's,
Bill would definitely remember. I
it
guess you
was,
have to.
well, I don't know. Uh, anyway, that's just one of those funny kid stories that isn't funny, but when a remarkable man like Bill Walton had a little bit of just to be in the same gym as him back then was an honor.
For sure. It's a lot of was it the Murph
Yeah,
when you were a kid?
the well,
Jack Murphy.
the San Diego Stadium, just to call it generically, when it was first built, was a marvel. They had Super Bowls there. Everybody thought it was going to be it was kind of the shining armor stadium in its day. It had the biggest parking lot you ever saw. My God. the tailgating there was crazy. But I had that all through my upbringing, and it was multi-sport. It was the Padres and the Chargers played in what was known as Jack Murphy Stadium, who was a sports writer, and then it was taken over by the name Qualcomm, and Qualcomm took it over, and now it's not even there. It's so crazy. That's San Diego State Aztecs' new home of their newest stadium, and it's an awesome college stadium. I haven't got a chance to go in, but I've seen it from the outside. But the history that was beheld at that Jack Murphy Qualcomm Stadium was incredible. Charger years, especially.
There, Coriel.
Yeah.
You were at the Holy Roller game.
Yep. I was
With
at
the Raiders.
every home game I was at from the time I was 7 years old till older. One of my best friends' dads was like best friends with the owner, and we always had tickets. And I remember we were in the opposite end zone of the Holy Roller. That game was as a young kids, we were good sports fans. Me and Joel, my best friend, we knew sports well. We knew what we had in that team, and we were into the game. We weren't there just running around like brats. We were watching the game, and when that Holy Roller thing happened, we didn't know what was going on. All you could see was guys falling on the ground and the ball squirting out and falling on the ground again, and
You were at the opposite
yeah, we're
end
at the
zone.
opposite. So I was looking at their backs, and I just remember I could close my eyes right now, and the ball just kept bouncing, and guys would land on it, but it would squirt out again, and it did this. What?
And Stabler threw it, and then Casper kicked it. As being a Raider fan back then, I was watching on TV.
It was crazy, and the stadium was always half Raider, half Charger, or more
That's
Raider.
irritating.
And the Raider fans would come down in mass. We had a heck of a rivalry back then. It was even nasty out in the parking lot and stuff. There was always, little semi riots and stuff. But that stadium was going crazy like you've never seen before. People screaming, people crying, people waving their arms, not knowing what the hell happened. And the players walking. Is that the way the game ended?
That's the end of
That
the
was
game.
it.
That was it.
That was it. 'Cause I
Last
remember
play of the game, I
players
believe.
were taking their helmets off, walking off, and we were like, "What the fuck happened?"
Remember the chicken fell down?
Yeah. So that was. I'll never forget that. That was. Is that an illegal play now?
Now, oh yeah,
I mean,
because it was fourth down, I think. So you can't advance.
yeah.
And he threw it underhand. I mean, there's probably four flags on that play today.
Yeah.
Raiders had a bunch of shit like that.
Yeah. But that was Kenny Stabler, I believe.
It was.
Yeah.
He's one.
Yeah.
He was getting down. He kind of tossed it underhand forward. Then maybe Van Egan, and then Casper kicked it into the end zone.
That was the name I was looking for, Casper.
Dave Casper kicked it
he
right
was the
into
last
the
of
end
the
zone.
Mohicans that really made it finish, knowing he was doing something not normal. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I believe it was fourth down or the very last play of the game, and we were down
really cool.
4 or 3, or because they couldn't kick a field goal, so they had to be down 4.
That was history that you never know is going to be such history now that we're way in our lives. That reminds me of something right now that I just thought of for some reason while pushing. What do you think about the running back or the quarterback with the sneak? And then
I hate it.
And then they can push them in.
The Eagles thing?
Yeah.
They should have outlawed it this year. It's stupid. It's terrible. It's cheating.
You can't back everybody up on the defense right at the hike, and I don't know. There's no answer to it. It doesn't.
It's like automatic first down, and they're going to do it all year again. They addressed it, and they said, we're going to allow it. They actually talked about it in the meetings this year.
I don't know. I don't like that. It takes away something from the whole fundamental. I guess it's a team sport, so what they're going, wait. Yeah, if you know it's coming, you got to figure out a way to stop it.
I don't like it one bit.
Yeah.
And it used to be illegal to push a guy from behind, and now it's not. I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those, we could do so much better.
Those of you that might watch this and think, these guys are not bad, wait till you see this guy's analysis on poor calls in the NFL. We're going to be showing you some of that this year, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Join us for Under the Hood.
Yeah.
We're going to dig deep into the Las Vegas gambling correlation to these shitty-ass calls that they think we're fucking idiots. When you see the guy's obviously in, And then they go under the hood. Upon further review, Vegas says incomplete.
Yeah, they're doing anything but saying Vegas says,
Yeah.
because something's happening where we know where your family is, or we're going to do this or that if you don't do this. This may sound like hogwash, but what else are we to think?
It's
Some
a
of the
multi-billion-dollar
some of these
industry.
calls are unexplainable.
Yeah.
How did that non-pass interference happen with the Saints on that obvious?
Oh, against the Rams, was it?
It was right near the end zone, freaking that pass to the sideline, and the guy was all underarmed over him, turning him down. It would have been first and goal, and they would have scored. And what
Yeah.
they said
In the
no,
playoffs, yeah.
yeah, in the playoffs. I don't remember exactly. I think it was.
I think it was Rams, yeah. Hit
But
them way early.
Yeah. I'm just trying to come up with sequences of what we're talking
Well,
about that I can think of at the moment.
I have my boy Sim, and we've been talking about this for 2 or 3 years, and we are texting during games, and there's 2 or 3 a week. There's 5 or 6 over a season that is so obvious, and I've always said I wanted, because you can look, I can get on Sunday morning and see what percent of the money on each game in Vegas is bet. Like I can go to Caesars, and 65% of the money is on the over, or 70% of the money is on the Steelers -3. So every shitty call that's obvious, then we look at what the line is in Vegas and see if it correlates.
And trust me, nobody wants this to be not true more than me or Richie, because we're talking about the heart of the game. Can you imagine if something was uncovered that actually correlated to this in some way or another? I mean, can you imagine how sad that would be, that games are basically fixed? I mean, we love the NFL. We love the athletes. We love the nature of the game, the incredible rush of winning, honestly winning. But if this somehow was true, oh my God. And God forgive me, because even talking about it, we're hopefully completely wrong. But how do you explain? Is it just we're humans and we make mistakes? How can we make mistakes when we have replay?
Here's the thing, too. It's supposed to be incontrovertible evidence to overturn a call. When a guy is underneath that hood for 3 or 4 minutes, it should be 30 seconds. And if you can't tell, stick with the call.
Yeah.
They look at it for 4 or 5 minutes sometimes. It's like, what the fuck are you looking at for so long?
Maybe they're not looking at something. Maybe they're waiting for a call back from some freaking
and
good fella.
I hope to God Jimmy Chainsaw doesn't come knocking on my door, or there's like a white van across the street.
Yeah, that's it. You guys are smarter than the average bear, so you're done.
If something happens.
And you know what's really like, if we were privileged to have one of the actual players listening to this right now, either we're a couple of jokers that deserve no time on the air, or they might be saying, these guys are the first people that have the balls to say it, what they might already think. I don't know. I'd be curious to hear.
We're going to find out this year
what people think, because it hurts no one more than the players when this shit happens.
Yeah. And I really believe if it does come down to it, I don't think it's we'll give you $2 million. It's I know where your kid goes to junior high or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe we're getting a little deep here.
That's sketchy. But bottom line is, that's why we're here, to share the reality of life. Everybody's got a story, and it's up to you to find these things interesting or not. But I think if you give it a chance, you're going to see that there's a couple of homegrown boys that, just want to spread the beautiful side of life, which is sports, personal lives,
love,
athletics,
aloha.
Yeah, and
I always sign out with saying just love yourself and forgive and
try to I think it's important to acknowledge that we are Americans, that our sports in general are amazing. Think about it. We have how many stadiums throughout the country? How many NFL teams, Major League Baseball teams, hockey? Look at the other countries. Do they have that much? Do they have
Not a
that
bit.
that close to infrastructure that we have just to support sports? It says a lot about our nation being strong and being number one. And I believe we got to think that way and continue to think that way and support the rest of the world the best we can.
For sure. I think I got to go pick up the kids soon. Maybe we could make this a Wednesday thing, bro. Wednesdays at noon.
Whining on Wednesday.
Whining Wednesday. Whining. Why they got to do that? Huh? Why?
All right, we can do whining on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I like that.
Otherwise, it's going to be winning on Wednesdays.
Winning,
As
whining
soon as
Wednesday.
the season starts. And I'm still a diehard Charger fan. I got to say, I have never been more proud to have a quarterback like Justin Herbert on my team. I think this guy's going to achieve great things, and I just hope his coach can match him with his potential.
He's 5 on my hot seat level, by the way. I did a show yesterday.
Yeah.
Coach's hot seat.
Yeah.
I'd have canned him in God for Sean Payton myself, and I'm not a fire. I mean, I kind of am a fire a guy if they deserve it. 27-0. He's a deer in the headlights guy. Just Anthony Lynn was no better. The Spanos have a way of just sticking with guys too long, but they'll fire Schottenheimer
For going 14
Yeah.
and 2.
Makes another show I want to
14
do.
and 2.
Me and you could do better.
14
You know?
and 2. Hello. All right. Well, I say aloha from Kauai.
Hawaii.
People know me as Raz. My name is Rick.
And like I always say, love yourself. Get out there. Let's be better people. I'm working on it too. A little higher consciousness. Forgive. Just have a gentle soul and be good to yourself. Stop the stress. Stress will kill you. And I love you all. I'll be looking for some money in a little bit, 51 cents a month coming, but free for now. And we're going to sign out. Got a half hour in. Thanks for joining me, Brother Raz. We'll see you next Wednesday. Ahuyo.
Good one.